It's a hotspot. The ghosts love it here. There are so many ghosts, and according to the pub, this is supposed to be the most haunted room in the whole establishment. It doesn't need to be 3 in the morning and super somber and deadly quiet to capture a ghost. If I look out of the window in the dead of night, am I going to see the apparition of this falling airman? One-eyed Jack, who likes to hang around, still wants to try and get a drink, I think. Is he actually a ghost or just one of the regulars? No haunted hotel, no haunted pub is complete without ghost children. The most terrifying kind, because they scream and giggle in a really high-pitched, piercing voice. There's also a sofa. You can have it all. Sit down and wait for One-Eyed Jack to come and join you. But if you don't like ghosts, this is what the bathroom looks like. So not only is there a grumpy ghost, there is a grumpy lady to watch over you while you shower. If you get a little lonely, you'll find a couple of hands that you can hold. Imagine if that moved, that would be absolutely terrifying. So yeah, there's a couple of handy hands holding the towel to hold your hand. A few years ago, someone came into the pub and stole the skull. Now, I'm not quite sure what they were proposing to do with this skull, so you do feel like you are being watched. And we all know what happened in there, don't we? Apparently. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children, dogs, cats, rabbits, anyone watching this video. Hi, how's it going? This is the Brocarde show, live from York. Now, York is one of those mystical, magical cities that is supposedly highly haunted, and here I am in one of the most haunted pubs in the whole of York. This pub, the Golden Fleece, is said to have none other than 15 resident ghosts. Now, for those of you who aren't aware of the Golden Fleece, it's quite an iconic building because it is extremely, extremely narrow. You cannot miss it because there is a golden fleece hanging outside, but it is very of another era, and it dates back to 1503. This is the earliest record of the pub's existence that was listed in the York archives. That alone would suggest that there is a lot going on between these walls that have no foundations. This is a wooden building, and it was not uncommon in the 1500s to have buildings that had no foundations. That is a relatively new architectural, structural addition. Back in the day, most buildings were built without foundations, and as such, this building has an awful lot of natural character. We're talking wonky floors, wonky doors, creaky floors, everything that makes it mysterious, magical, and quintessentially very British and very, very quirky. And, of course, as I mentioned, it's a hotspot. The ghosts love it here. There are so many ghosts living within these walls. And why would there not be? It is a very, 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 very old building in Yorkshire and has a lot of history. In the 1700s, this inn was owned by Lord John Peckett, and his wife, Lady Alice Peckett, is said to still think she owns the pub today. Her presence has been sighted everywhere, and it is believed she is one of the most predominant ghosts of the Golden Fleece. She has a room named after her. This evening, I'm not in the Lady Alice Peckett room. I'm in the Shambles room, which overlooks the Shambles, naturally, and according to the pub. This is supposed to be the most haunted room in the whole establishment. And it is because of one of the other notorious ghosts, which I will touch upon in a minute. As you can see, when you come into this room, it's rather flamboyant. I like it. It has touches of history running throughout the room and running throughout the building. And I reckon in the dead of night, with all these creepy floorboards, all these uneven rooms, and all of the natural sounds that come with this building, it's going to be a fabulous, fun experience, especially if I get visited by one of the pub's resident ghosts. At the moment, it's a Sunday afternoon. It's Christmas season. The markets have just opened, so York is bustling. You can perhaps hear in the background that people are downstairs in the pub eating and drinking, probably tucking into some roast beef and Yorkshire pudding as we speak. But it doesn't need to be 3 a.m. and super sombre and deadly quiet to capture a ghost. So anything could happen. Anything could happen now. Anything could happen at 3 a.m. I wonder if I will see the ghost of Lady Alice Peckett. It is said that she likes to wander around, floating up and down the stairs and moving furniture, because if she doesn't like the way it has been placed, then she will correct it and move it. And basically, she still thinks she owns the place. So I'm wondering what her spiritual energy is going to be like. Is she going to be a little bit of a diva? Am I going to bump into her in the dead of night or in the mid-afternoon hustle, bustle? Will I see her when I venture downstairs? Will I see Lady Alice Peckett standing there in the bar behind someone eating a little bit of roast beef? Anything's possible. So, you've probably tuned in because you want to hear the ghost stories that this establishment brags about. Aside from Lady Alice Peckett, there is another quite notorious ghost that has never ever left the Golden Fleece Hotel. This is Canadian Airman George Monroe. It is believed that George fell from one of the upper floors directly onto the pavement of the Shambles below. Some believe he fell. Some have conspiracy theories that he was pushed. Either way, he met his demise in quite a grisly, gruesome way, because I'm assuming that when he hit the cobbled street below, his life ended quite swiftly. Now, if you look at the front of the Golden Fleece building, then I'm on the first floor. I don't know if it is the first floor, it's up the first flight of stairs. My room overlooks the Shambles, and as I said earlier, it's called the Shambles room. There is a window on the floor above me, which, if you wanted to be logical, would be the second floor. However, there are only 2 windows in this building that face the front, this room and the room above. So if George did meet his end by falling from the window above, there is the potential that his ghost could be very, very close in proximity to where I am resting my weary head this evening. And if I look out of the window in the dead of night, am I going to see the apparition of this falling airman. Some people say that they see him in full uniform. Was he dressed in his uniform when he fell? I do not have the backstory as to why he was in this building. Would he have been staying over the night? Would he be sleeping here? Did he fall out of the window in his uniform? Or was he perhaps wearing a nightgown? Visitors report seeing him in full uniform, walking around the hotel as if he never left. What is it about buildings like this, where the residents do not want to leave, even long after their lives have ended? Interesting question. If you were one of the ghosts of the Golden Fleece, would you hang out in the bedroom or would you hang out in the bar? Apparently, the bar has a couple of resident ghosts. One-eyed Jack, who likes to hang around, still wants to try and get a drink, I think. He is said to have been sighted in a long red coat holding a pistol. Now, there's also a ghost of a grumpy old man. And these two, are they the same person? Are they two different ghosts? Reports are conflicting, but apparently there is a grumpy ghost, a very moody ghost, who sits downstairs at the bar, and if you go near him, he will grunt at you and make you feel rather uncomfortable. Is he actually a ghost or just one of the regulars? Apparently his apparition just sits there, day and night, drinking and being moody. Sounds fabulous. What a life. The life of a ghost. What would you do in the afterlife? Would you be a haunting ghost? Would you make people jump? Or would you just sit there, moody, having a pint? Food for thought, an interesting one. Have you ever considered what personality of yours your ghost will take on? Are you going to be your best self? Are you going to be your most evil? Are you just going to be nom de plus? Ghost number 5. No haunted hotel, no haunted pub is complete without ghost children. The most terrifying kind, because they scream and giggle in a really high-pitched, piercing voice. However, there is a ghost of a young boy who is said to haunt the Golden Fleece because he got run over by a horse and carriage directly outside the pub. And he's often seen in the entrance of the pub, walking around, vanishing, appearing, walking around. So that concludes. These are the 5 ghosts that the Golden Fleece mention on a rather large plaque outside the door. You will see it if you come to York. If you walk past the pub, day or night, this plaque, along with the history of the building, is there for you all to read. Now, do these ghosts actually exist? Now that is what I'm here to establish. Something occurred to me. You may have clicked on this video because you're a nosy Parker. You want a little snoop around the hotel room. You might not even care whether this building is haunted or not. You might not even believe in ghosts. You might just want to come to York for the weekend. You might just want to check into a hotel room, and you might have clicked this video because you want to know what it's actually like to stay at the Golden Fleece. Well, I'm going to give you a little room tour without ghosts. Well, da-da! Here we are. I'm in MTV Cribs mode, even though, again, this is not my crib. But as you will see, there's a lovely little bed behind me. Absolute fan of the wall art, these paintings. I haven't got close enough to know if they're prints or paintings, but whatever they are really setting the tone. I'm here for it. I dig it. As I said, we have just entered Christmas season, But I love the way the fireplace is adorned with some autumnal leaves and a little pumpkin jar. I like that because I'm an autumnal Halloween themed kind of girl. So I like the fact that they've kept hold of that and they haven't scrapped it as soon as Halloween has come to a close. There's also a sofa. You can have a little sit down and wait for One-Eyed Jack to come and join you. You can go downstairs, grab a pint, see if One-Eyed Jack will leave the bar with the lure of a fresh pint in hand. Also, I'm going to show you the bathroom because it's quite nice. It's got a roll-top bath and you might encounter one of the resident ghosts while having a bubble bath. Stranger things have happened, and as we all know, ghosts have no care for when it's convenient. They will appear whenever they like. And it could be when you're having a bubble bath, when you're cleaning your teeth, when you're taking care of business, when you are going to the loo. Who knows? I'm going to show you the bathroom. As promised, here's a little look inside the bathroom. As I was mentioning earlier, the character of this bathroom, the floor is like this. It's completely crooked. And if you wanted to play marbles in here, they would literally roll out the door. But as I don't want to play marbles in the bathroom, I'm okay with that. So yeah, this is the bathroom, the haunted bathroom. I wonder if messages are going to appear in the steam of the shower or in the bathtub, in the bubbles. Am I going to be having a bath and see one of the resident ghosts? Pretty cool. But if you don't like ghosts, this is what the bathroom looks like. We touched upon grumpy ghosts a minute ago. Now, the wall art, the lovely lady adorning the wall, looks a little bit disgruntled, very grumpy. So not only is there a grumpy ghost, there is a grumpy lady to watch over you while you shower. If you get a little lonely, you'll find a couple of hands that you can hold. Imagine if that moved, that would be absolutely terrifying. So yeah, there's a couple of handy hands holding the towel to hold your hand. We were talking a million videos ago about haunted objects. Wouldn't that be a fabulous thing to be haunted? Imagine touching it and that being possessed by an evil entity and it squeezing your hand. That would be absolutely terrifying. I wonder if that will happen tonight. That concludes Ghost Stories at the Golden Fleece. With me, yours truly. If you stayed here and you've experienced one of those infamous ghosts or any of the other ghosts that reside in the building, there's actually meant to be a very, very haunted cellar, which is haunted by soldiers. Rumour has it, and I don't know if this fact is correct, but I believe at one point bodies were stored in the cellar of this pub. Hence why the cellar is said to be one of the most haunted areas in this whole building. But if you're like me, you'll believe that spirits can move around. Spirits can move between rooms. They can integrate amongst us. They can appear in one location and disappear and then appear in another. So, whatever you sense and whatever you feel while staying at the Golden Fleece, there is potentially substance to it because historically this is one of the city's oldest pubs and oldest buildings. And when you're talking about properties from the 1500s, there is a lot that went down between those walls, between those rather crooked, wobbly, character-filled walls. I wanted to tell you a real-life tale of horror that occurred in the Golden Fleece Inn. As you will see, behind me there is the skull of Elizabeth Johnson, who was a real-life execution victim. This skull is proudly displayed here in the bar all year round. However, a few years ago, someone came into the pub and stole the skull. Now, I'm not quite sure what they were proposing to do with the skull. However, the skull vanished. This caused a little bit of local outcry, and somehow the skull was returned and put back in its display case and put back on the shelf here in the pub. So if you're popping into the Golden Fleece, this is the front bar room, and this is where you will find Elizabeth Johnson's skull. Now that's kind of a funny thought. Imagine your skull being in a pub for eternity. I wonder if that is worse than being executed itself. But at least she's being remembered in one way or another. Behind me is one of two bars that are here in the Golden Fleece. I wonder if this is the bar where One-Eyed Jack is spotted, or the Grumpy Man. This is certainly my favourite room in the pub because it feels very traditional and it looks out onto the Shambles. This is the Shambles room, and the walls are adorned with beady eyeballs, so I already feel like I'm being watched by the paintings. The walls have eyes, and this is a running theme throughout the pub. Every room has an eyeball on the door. The Shambles room doesn't have an eyeball, but the other rooms have an eyeball, so you do feel like you are being watched. This is the third floor, the very top of the pub. This is the Minster Suite, the room above mine. And we all know what happened in there, don't we? Apparently. I hope this video has got you feeling really, really spooky, even though Halloween has long since passed and we're in the festive period of joy. Ghosts are still lurking everywhere, and I am going to be continuing to report on the most haunted places in the whole wide world. If you like this video, you know what to do. Share your stories, like, follow, subscribe, and come with me on my crazy, crazy journey. Bye.